Hello, one and all. Welcome to the next AI-only campaign. I am your host, as always, Verenity Void. This here, you're looking upon the map for Campaign 11, Foolish Burials. With every AI-only campaign comes a new set of challenges, a new set of nations, and a whole lot of action to get to. But before we even get to that action, we've got to do some epilogue stuff. I'm sorry, not epilogue, that's post. That's after the series is finished. I mean prologue stuff. With every prologue, I've been doing this for a while now, I read the first two national idea descriptions and give some general thoughts about, how the nation in question might do. So, I'm going to just get right to it. I'm going to try and get through as many as I can in this first part of the prologue, because I usually split these into two parts. We'll see how far we get. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to say other than let's get started. So, I am first on the list. Next will be Mackie's submissions, and then it will be Virivi's submissions, and we'll keep going from there. So, let me just get this Excel sheet all squared away, okay? Actually, I should, before I get started, just a quick word about the theme of this campaign. There have been various old submissions from the very first few campaigns I hosted. They have been resurrected as modded submissions, and I tried to get as close as I could to how they were originally made. So, with ones like Thestios right here, they are as close as I could get them to how they were with their national ideas and everything. So, we're going to see how they do now that they have been resurrected. They have come back from the graves that they were buried in so long ago. And I'm talking actually more than 4 years ago at this point. These submissions have not seen the light of day in quite a while. So, without further ado, I'm going to start going through. So the first submission, I thought I selected this. It's supposed to be a Peasants' Republic. The first submission from myself is the Aetolian League. The traditions are 20% defensiveness and minus 10% war score cost. The first national idea is tribal and communal cooperation. And the description is, drawn into political machinations of Athens and Sparta, meant that the tribes of Aetolia had to join together on both the political and military level. Such cooperation is great when we obtain the desired outcomes, but it can also strain the power of the various elected archons and the strategos. Where there is strength and unity amongst our families and tribes, there must also be a competent assembly of people instead of a singular leader dictating every action and reaction of the League. Attrition for enemies +1, maximum absolutism -20, and cost of advisors with rulers culture -20%. The second national idea is standardized ecclesia. Traditionally, the ecclesia met 2 times a year to discuss various political matters and elect people to various positions of power. But in order to make the League more cogent and cohesive as a whole, we need to have regular meetings at more frequent intervals. The more times we meet together to discuss the pressing matters at hand, the stronger we will be as a gathering of communities and tribes. Reform progress growth +10%. The Aetolian League is indeed Hellenic in religion, so I believe they're going to be strained for allies. The only other Hellenic nation in kind of like earshot or whatever is the Isle of the Blessed. So we'll see if my boy here is going to be able to get any allies. Also, if my voice sounds a little bit different, if I sound different at all, is because I finally moved my setup into my room. So my desk, my computer, It's all in an enclosed environment now. There's no fear of just like someone walking through my background and you hearing the footsteps or someone talking. No, it's all an enclosed environment, thankfully. So I don't have to worry about it. I'm just gonna lower the music down just slightly. Second submission from me is Armina. The traditions of Armina are war exhaustion minus 0.5 and diplomatic reputation plus 1. The first national idea is integral to the empire. Though some would see us being on the edge of the old Achaemenid Empire, we know that we were important to the integrity of the old empire. If it was not for the Orontid dynasty of Armina, a large swath of the empire would have been open to invasion or worse. As we organize our state and find our place in the world, we should always remember how important we once were to the Achaemenid Empire in every way possible, but most importantly in terms of our military contributions. Land force limit plus 20%. The second national idea is consolidation and reformation. We have several matters to address before we can even think of reforming the old Achaemenid Empire or forging our own legacy as large as that of the ancients. Everything from tax reform to judicial matters to payments to military officials needs to be organized in such a way that it flows toward our capital and, more importantly, the Orontid family, which has been and continues to be an integral part to our very foundation as a state. National tax modifier plus 15%, governing capacity minus 15%. So, Armina is, I thought I already did this one too. It's supposed to be feudal nobility. Armina is Zoroastrian, so they are going to have some nice allies in Mesopotamia, maybe? That's really about it, though. I think, yeah. Only other Zoroastrian nation there is. So, these two, and it's them against the world, I guess. Third submission for me is Yaman. Oh, well, if you're able to stop it fast enough, you get to see the starting... Well, actually, you know what? Here, I'll show this right now. This is going to change anyways, because, you know, when things start out, the tags, or the nations that were spawned in via console commands, you know, this stuff right here, those are going to be... They're going to state their land, and then they're going to core it, and, well, it's going to be cored automatically, and they will get onto the leaderboard. So this is not even final for the first part. So let's not even think about that. For Yaman, the traditions are trade efficiency plus 10% and cavalry cost minus 15%. The first national idea of Yaman is Legacy of Al-Abna. The initial expedition of Vahrez and his subsequent return to cement Sasanian authority in the region eventually left behind a substantial number of Iranian people that intermixed with the local population. Himyarite and Iranian people gave in this localized region. Whoops, I did a typo. That's why it's tripping me up. Himyarite and Iranian people in this localized region gave rise to what we know as the Al-Abna, or the Sons, which now make up a decent proportion of our administration and overall population. It is through the Al-Abna that our court will be filled with well-meaning and educated officials. Advisor cost minus 10%. The second national idea is Iranian garrisons reinforced. Though we know not of what exactly happened back in the land of the Sasanian Empire, we do know that regular contact and shipments to and from Iranian coasts has brought with it a plethora of benefits. From a myriad of trade contracts to a number of skilled warriors that are intent on defending what rightfully belongs to the House of Sasan, we of Yaman will continue to prosper from our close relations to the north. Fort defense plus 15%, trade steering plus 15%. So, Yaman is a little bit more isolated than Armina in terms of like their location, and I'm not sure if they will be able to get an alliance with Mesopotamia. We'll see. Maybe Yaman suffers early and they're just not able to hold out against the vanilla tags around them, or maybe they thrive. We just gotta wait and see. The next submission for me is Consejo de la Lucha, but this is a previous submission from a previous campaign, and I wanted to resubmit it again and see how they do with different provinces. So I'm not going to read the descriptions. I'm just going to go through the first 3 national ideas, what their modifiers are, and I'll comment on their location. The traditions of Consejo de la Lucha are caravan power plus 20% and yearly corruption minus 0.1. The first national idea is stability cost modifier minus 15%. The second national idea is morale of armies plus 10%. And the third national idea is yearly army tradition plus 0.75 and morale damage received minus 7.5%. So compared to last time, Consejo de la Lucha is in, I would say, a much more favorable position. Since last time, I think they were up here in terms of like the region of Central America. They were up here, but I moved them further south so that maybe they'll have a little bit of a better time with their proximity to others. Yayoi is no longer in these campaigns, unfortunately. I do hope he comes back. Yayoi, if you're listening to this, I do miss you in these campaigns. And I missed like there always being a paradox somewhere. But since like there's no other submissions in Central America beside like in the Caribbean, I thought Consejo de la Lucha might be able to do well with against like Aztec, Zapotec, maybe even the Apache. I have no idea. Or maybe they'll get curb stomped and get religiously isolated. It's always a possibility. So, the next submissions are from Mackie, the person that has always been helping me with these campaigns and who I'm very, very grateful for. Because legitimately, he has... Oh boy. Oh boy. There's a little bit of an issue. Okay. Well, I will save Mackie for later unless I can find a little something something. Stand by, because I have to see if I can find something. I have to go to this, decisions. If this doesn't work, then I might be out of luck. So tag. I don't like having to do this on the fly, but I want to properly read Mackie's national ideas because he puts a lot of effort into them. Event. Yes, please. There we go. Drigung. All right. Okay. So I will do this for the others. GYA. Mecklenburg. Okay. Yes, please. Cool. And then CKL. Yep. Sometimes it gets a little bit bugged out, and I have to manually like reload the national ideas. But there we go. So the first submission from Mackie is Chakla. Chakla. So the traditions of Chakla are +2 tolerance of heretics and caravan power +30%. The first national idea is 18 kingdoms. Although fairly united based on Tachian Lu, this region has always had various little states divided by the hills and mountains here. By banding together, we should be able to defy any foe that dare encroach on us. Land force limit +10%, and if they have it, nobility loyalty equilibrium +10%. The second national idea is Small Chengdu. Our capital at Kangding is a rather cosmopolitan town resembling a Chinese city. The city remains a border between Chinese and Tibetan cultures. Development cost -10%, and max promoted cultures +1. That is just the first part of this Tibetan Thunderdome that Mackie has made for us. The second submission is Drigung. The traditions of Drigung are possible advisors +1 and yearly devotion +1. The first national idea is defense of Drigung Monastery. In 1240, the Mongol armies under Dorta Nagpo, Dorta the Black, sacked Gyel Lakhang Monastery and Reting Monastery, then turned on Drigung. The monks managed to defend the monastery and prevent its destruction. Shock damage received -15%. Second national idea is Gompa. While we have an abbot as our religious head, we also have a secular ruler, the Gompa or Gonchen. With rare exceptions, this was a hereditary position within the Kyoura clan until the 16th century. National unrest -1, stability cost modifier -10%. I'm going to try and move my microphone just a little bit closer. I got my water here just in case I need a drink. That is the second part of this Tibetan Thunderdome. The third part is over here. It is Baltistan. The traditions of Baltistan are construction costs -15% and land leader maneuver +1. The first national idea of Baltistan is Nurbakhshia order. The Nurbakhshia Sufi order is what propagates Islamic thought into our land. Them venturing into the cold and mountainous Baltistan means that they would always help us convert those who do not follow their faith. As terrain nor isolation will not separate the Nurbakhshias from their mission. Missionaries +1. The second national idea is Nurbakhshia order. The Nurbakhshia Sufi order is what propagates Islam. Wait, what? Whoop. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't scroll over far enough. That's right. The second national idea is a lowland between two high places. We should found a new city to serve as our seat. Located at the most high point, or the most important valley in Baltistan, the city shall be great. The king of forts must be built to defend this city, and artisans from Kashmir to Chilas shall further expand the city's economy. Development cost -10%. That is the third part of this Tibetan Thunderdome. The fourth part of this Tibetan Thunderdome is Gyansei. The traditions of Gyansei are yearly prestige +1.5, cavalry flanking ability +50%. The first national idea is Southern Guard. In 1390, Gompa Pakpa expanded the small fortress of Gyansei, where his royal residence was. To this day, Gyansei Zong guards the southern approaches to Lhasa. Fort defense +20%. Nyangchu Valley is their second national idea. Gyansei's position in the Nyangchu Valley has made it an entrepot of trade for centuries. Trade from the Chumbi Valley and Sikkim, Nepal, Shigatse, and central Tibet converge here, so taxes and customs could be raised in abundance. Domestic trade power +10%. Now then, I don't know why they have devotions here. Devotion 100. You're supposed to have max, right? Okay. But yeah, so this Tibetan Thunderdome, stretching from Baltistan at Gilgit to Chakla at Songku, it's gonna pop off. Undoubtedly, it is going to pop off. I don't know who's going to win. Even in the test run, we didn't really see anyone definitively win. We saw, I think, a couple winners, a couple losers, but no one really super won the Thunderdome, so it's kind of up in the air. You know, maybe Baltistan and Gyansei team up, or maybe Drigong and Chakla team up. I have no idea. So this one's going to be very interesting to watch. Whoever comes out on top, is going to have a serious advantage, even though this is like Arctic and mountainous terrain. They're going to have a really big boost in economic power. The last submission from Mackie is the United States of Albania. They are back and they are better than ever. So, the traditions of Albania here are attrition for enemies plus 0.5 and discipline plus 5%. The first national idea is Georgi Washingtoni. It's the Albanian version of George Washington, I guess. George Washington, mother was a ethnic Albanian and her real name was Marie Balaj, Catholic faith. Her family immigrated from Junik village, today Kosovo, to UK and later to Virginia, USA. This reads like that fucking Twitter account, but for Albanians. I know that's what you're going for, Mackie, goddammit. Yearly legitimacy plus 1. Their second national idea is America kneels to almighty Albania. The reason America's national animal is an eagle because they are an Albanian puppet state. Diplomatic annexation, minus 10%. In the test run, the United States of Albania did pretty well. They went to war with West Lichtenland twice in the first war. Well, that one ended in stalemate. No land taken. The second war led to the complete annexation of West Lichtenland by Albania. So, if they can do that again, with the help of the Kakalaki Republic, Albania will be set to dominate the eastern seaboard. Guess we gotta see, though. Because the Kakalaki Republic, they are no slouch. They are no slouch. The next set of submissions are from Viri. His first submission is Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera Al Qadra. The traditions of this nation are idea cost minus 10% and institution spread in true faith provinces plus 30%. The first national idea is cultural bastion. With the Reconquista coming near its end, we were blessed by Allah to have become one of the final resting places of the splendorous culture of Al-Andalus. It is our duty in this world to preserve these ways, lest our accomplishments be forgotten. Cost of advisors with ruler's culture minus 15%. The second national idea is lament for Al-Andalus. The sincere monotheist weeps in sorrow, like a passionate lover weeping at the beloved's departure over dwellings now emptied of Islam and filled with unbelief, in which mosques have become churches wherein only crosses and bells may be found. Morale damage received minus 10%. I'll just spoil this now because I find it a really cool concept. Viri's nations are antipodes of each other, so that means like if you were to find them on the globe, I believe this one, Al Jazeera Al Qadra, is direct. Like if you drilled down from Al Jazeera Al Qadra straight through the earth, you would pop up around here, where Te Tai Tokaru is. So, the antipode. Antipodial? I think that's how you say it. Antipodal. Okay. I was close. Anyways. Antipodal people. Antipodal submissions. Teitai Tokaru. The traditions of it are naval attrition minus 30% and ship durability plus 10%. The first national idea is Wayfinders. Our ancestors only entered their homelands after months of navigating the vast Pacific. Navigating solely by the wind and stars, our people have always been explorers of the unknown. Colonial range plus 20%. The second national idea is our new neighbors. Surrounding us are varying groups of Pakeha, who have many things unseen back home in Aotearoa. We must remain hospitable to these foreigners to facilitate a smooth exchange of ideas. Institution embracement cost minus 20%. So, as we can clearly see, Al Jazeera, Al Qadra, they're very isolated. So they're going to just have a free time just doing whatever, colonizing whatever they want. They're going to be building up a big, big navy. Meanwhile, Te Tai Tokaru, they're going to have to deal with a very powerful nation over here named Zaramar. And all I have to say to that is good luck, because Zaramar is looking mighty powerful already before we even start, because Te Tai Tokaru has 6k, Zaramar has 8k. 4 ships, 6 ships. You know, just good luck. Good luck. The next submission is Wari. Wari. So, Wari. The traditions of Wari are infantry combat ability plus 15% and core creation cost minus 15%. The first national idea is renewed prosperity. After 200 years of seemingly eternal famine, our kingdom held on to life from the jaws of death. Our new homeland and its river is far more bountiful than our old homeland, and we are grateful for it. Goods produced plus 0.5. The second national idea of Wari is terraced agriculture. It was us who brought terraced agriculture to the Andes, cultivating both tubers and maize as staple crops. This allowed us to grow a larger population than the mountains would suggest, and this has given us advantages over our neighbors. Development cost minus 10%. So Wadi is a little isolated because they're inland, but their immediate neighbors on the sea are going to be interesting because they have Maltasia, and then they have the Kappa units, and then Brunei. Inland, they're going to be very far away from Miao as well as Ava. So Wadi is going to have a little bit of a journey to make. And then the last submission from Viri is Chenla, right over here. Another antipode. The traditions of Chenla are institution embracement costs minus 20% and ship trade power plus 30%. The first national idea is successor of Funan. Like our predecessors, we occupy prime real estate to take advantage of trade routes between the wealthy lands of India and China. Alongside being the lifeline of our economy, we import vast cultural influences and religions from our neighbors. Trade efficiency plus 15%. The second national idea is martial meritocracy. Our traditional succession system did not rely on blood, but rather by their capabilities on the battlefield. Those who can win easily in battle would naturally garner a large following. After all, this martial spirit is needed in our new chaotic home. Yearly army tradition plus 1.5. So, in the test run, Chenla was easily able to overrun Chachapoya. That was partially because they are Chinese tech and Chachapoya is Andean tech. However, I changed it around. Every single nation in this campaign starts at Tech 1. Admin Tech 1, Dip Tech 1, Mill Tech 1. So it is going to be interesting to see if Chenla can really outdo Chachapoya when they finally do meet. Granted, Chachapoya starts with 3 provinces, Chenla starts with 4 provinces. I'm curious how the stakes will be when push comes to shove. The next submissions are from Akamatsu. Akamatsu's first submission is right here. Lamel. I don't know how to say that name, so I just put it down as Lamel. I have to actually see, let me see what he put down as the government reform and see if I can actually select it, because there's no guarantee I can actually select it. Let's see. I really don't know. History. Where's LA8? There it is. Oh, that's the wrong one. Nyankara reform. Yeah, that's not happening. It's gonna be, yeah, it's just a default one. Yeah, because it's not Indian. It's like not, I think, South Indian culture or something like that. So I can't do it. That's just how it is. And these are national ideas ripped straight from vanilla EU4. So I will read the modifiers instead. This is a slot machine. This is a nation stitched together from various parts. I like the concept a lot, Akamatsu. I really do. But these are national ideas anyone can look up and read. So the traditions of Lamamel, I don't know how to say it. I'm just going to call it Lam, that LAM, is discipline plus 5% and diplomatic reputation plus 2. The first national idea gives construction cost minus 10% and production efficiency plus 10%. The second national idea gives national tax modifier plus 25% and number of possible parliament issues plus 1, if they even choose parliament. And the third national idea is production efficiency plus 10%. You found a loophole. And I am going to patch that loophole. Interesting. But yeah, these are all national ideas that have been stitched together from various other national idea sets, and it's a really cool idea. I like that, just like spin the wheel. We'll take an idea from the Mughals. I'll take a national idea from Castile. How about one from the Mamluks? It's fun. And not only that, like the religion and all that, and the culture, I think that's all slot machined too. So, nice job on the theme. I really like it. The next submission from Akamatsu is Zestriosia. Zestriosia? Yes, right here. And it is another slot machine nation, but I like the name. It's a cool name. The traditions here for Zestriosia are naval morale plus 10% and national supply limit modifier plus 10%. The first national idea gives production efficiency plus 15%. The second national idea gives national tax modifier plus 15%. And the third national idea gives artillery cost minus 15%. So, I think Zestriosia is going to have a really early confrontation with Phoenicia, just like what happened in the test run. As to who wins, I'm not sure. I kind of think maybe Zestriosia, because they have the Nile River to colonize, and Phoenicia doesn't. But Phoenicia might be able to get an ally and help that out. I'm not sure. Zestriosia is Malankara versus Phoenicia, which is Kemetic. So they're both kind of religiously isolated. Maybe the Christianity helps. I'm not sure. And as for Lam, they are Sunni in a sea of Catholics and non-Catholics. Like New Japan up here is Shinto, West Korea is Confucian, Blazing Saddle is Tengri, and over here is a Zoroastrian. So I don't think Lam is going to really... excuse me. I do not think they are going to get any allies anytime soon. But we'll see. The test run did not have them in play because I had to fix their stuff. So the fact that they are here and they are ready to rumble is going to change a lot of things in the region. The next submission from Akamatsu is Zaramar. And I really like Zaramar. I just like the name. It's cool. The traditions of Zaramar are naval force limit plus 15% and infantry combat ability plus 10%. The first national idea of Zotomar are naval fortifications. Zotomar's heavy investment in naval fortifications significantly boosts fleet morale, enhancing performance in sea battles and skirmishes akin to the strategic defenses seen along Portugal's coast. Morale of navies plus 15%. Oh, I think I said morale of navies up here. Naval force limit plus 15%. The second national idea of Zotomar is advanced cartography. By pioneering advances in navigation and mapping, Zotomar gains a significant edge in controlling global trade, similar to Portugal's role in the Age of Discovery and its mastery over maritime exploration. Global trade power plus 15%. So, Zotomar is definitely going for, well, like that Portugal play. Try to colonize and get those trade routes under control so that they can just monopolize the wealth. If they also take out Teitai Tokaru, they will definitely be able to take on the Isle of the Blessed. The Isle of the Blessed is kind of like a wild card. They could ally with Zotomar, they could ally with Teitai. We'll see, because these two really hate each other. And if Zotomar wins against Teitai, they've monopolized almost all of Iberia. And if Teitai wins against Zotomar, I would say it's slightly less of a grip on power, but it's still like a very solid grip. You know? It's just that initial starting position of, 8k over here versus 6k. 4 ships over here versus 6 ships. Kind of makes me think a little. The last submission from Akamatsu is 9VG right over here. So 9VG, another slot machine nation. The traditions of 9VG are prestige from land battles plus 75% and ship trade power propagation plus 30%. The first national idea gives religious harmonization speed plus 10%. The second national idea gives Global Defender dice roll bonus plus 1. And the third national idea gives light ship combat ability plus 10%. Safe to say, I will be surprised if 9VG survives past the first 3 parts. Since some of these national ideas and stuff, there's literally no benefit. Quite literally no benefit. They are a landlocked nation. And that's all I gotta say. Sometimes a slot machine puts forth a really good submission. Sometimes it puts forth some oddballs, I would say. I'm going to take a sip of my water and get ready for the next submissions, which are from, I believe, Q9626. Always gotta stay hydrated, folks. Always. Where's that? Let me just make sure I got this correct. Because I don't want to mix up submissions, so... Okay, I think I got it correctly. So his first submission, Q9626's first submission is Makamatsu. This little friend group is getting a special one today. I don't know why. What reform were they supposed to get? Actually, they are a. Oh no, this is a modded submission, right? This is his one modded submission. What is it supposed to get? It's supposed to get feudalism. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure I got that right. The first national, or the traditions of Makamatsu, are national unrest plus 2. That's not minus, that's plus 2. And then idea cost minus 10%. The first national idea is the best ship in the world. Makamatsu is the certified best ship in the world. Ship durability plus 15%. The second national idea is quarreling lovers. Despite being devoted lovers, Maki and Akamatsu always fight amongst each other. If they just accept their undying love for each other and push this energy outward, they would make an unstoppable duo. Stability cost modifier plus 10%, morale of armies plus 10%, yearly army tradition plus 0.5. So, Makamatsu is they're gonna have a tough time. I'm not gonna lie, they're gonna have a tough time. They are a Tengri nation with Shinto that is accepted, and they have Myoren right over here, and Myoren is ready to go. So, it's going to be iffy. However, Myoren could have problems if they want to attack Chiba first. We'll see. But this, I will be curious what happens to Makamatsu, this unbreakable ship, as the parts go by. Maybe they'll survive off into Maki's homeland, which is Siberia. Alright, let's see what else here. Q96's next submission is Neo Buyeo. Here we go. Neo Buyeo. So, the traditions here are build cost minus 15% and yearly inflation reduction plus 0.1. So, that inflation is going down, the construction cost is going down. The first national idea of Neo Buyeo is from the mountain monastery. One ruling dynasty descended from the last of the Buyeo kings lived in... one ruling dynasty. Jesus Christ, come on! Our ruling dynasty, descended from the last of the Buyeo kings, lived in a monastery on the mountaintop near Yi for generations, praying for a restoration of Buyeo until recently. This made our people worship the ways of old and new, in tandem as one faith. Tolerance of the true faith plus 3. The second national idea is rewriting our language. The Buyeo language was nearly driven to extinction centuries ago. The only ones who knew how to write in Buyeo were those fabled monks on the mountain. With our communities alive again, it is time we revitalize the literary traditions of Buyeo. Administrative technology cost minus 10%. So they're going to be a little bit isolated until they get to the coastline, which is right here, Yukjin. However, getting there is going to be very profitable. Look at that, 17.5 development in both provinces, and even oh no, I thought I clicked on another one. Like you have 17.5 development all around you. What is going on? But yeah, Neo Buyeo, they're pretty set. They got some nice stuff surrounding them. They got a nice start in general, so I don't anticipate any problems until maybe like the Japanese start colonizing the mainland. We'll see. Q96's next submission is the Ankara Oghuz. I might just shorten it to like Ankara Oghuz, because it's just easier to say. But the traditions of Ankara Oghuz are manpower recovery speed plus 10% and yearly army tradition decay minus 1%. The first national idea is site of battle. Our capital city of Ankara was the site of one of the key battles of Anatolia, the battle between Timur the Lame and Bayezid the Thunderbolt. Although the battle is long over, the consequences it has imparted to the region shall be felt forever. Army tradition from battles plus 200%. And then the second national idea is Great Turkish Bombard. Artillery makes for the future of warfare. The ability for cannons to tear down even the walls of Constantinople make them our most powerful asset, albeit an expensive one. If we can lessen their cost, we can easily dominate the battlefield. Artillery cost minus 15%. So the Ankaro Blues are I would say, in a favorable position if they can get their navy up, because if they can block the straits and they can keep a very firm control over their heartland. They are Sunni, however, there's not many Sunnis around them other than Crimea. So if they ally with Crimea, hey, that's great. Power duo. If they rival Crimea, I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Just in general, I'm not sure if they'll be able to like reach and annex parts of Crimea, or if they're just gonna like falter halfway through. The next submission from him, from Q96, is West Lichtenland, which is right here. I believe it's German, right? Rhenish, alright. So, the traditions of West Lichtenland are construction time minus 30% and yearly legitimacy plus 1.5. The first national idea is Imperial Charter. Quote, and to our western dukes of House Schrappelnau, we entrust them to expand the Holy Roman Empire's borders all the way to the edges of the earth. End quote. Decree by the Holy Roman Emperor in 1386 to Karl von Schrappelnau, Duke of the Western Lands. Colonists plus 1. The second national idea is armor from the mainland. The armor of our knights, the most heavy clad even in Europe, makes attacks from the natives and their primitive weapons ineffective. In the Battle of Rotholm, one knight beat 6 native warriors alone with his armor, having many arrows stuck on it at the end. Fire damage received, minus 15%. So, I would say if West Lichtenland actually gets to like their second national idea, they will be in a solid position to take on the United States of Albania. But let us not forget that the United States of Albania, they have discipline on their side. So discipline versus receiving less fire damage, I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. So, I believe we'll do Pimenta's submissions, and then I will save the rest for the second part of the prologue. That way we are not here too long, and these prologue parts are not super elongated. So, Pimenta starts us off with Senkai, right over here. So, the traditions of Senkai are infantry combat ability plus 15% and religious unity plus 30%. The first national idea is Feng Shui. Monobe no Futo, our ruler's closest servant, is able to manipulate Feng Shui, which is the flow of qi according to the environment, which can change both fate and fortune. Fort defense plus 15%. The second national idea is Prince Shotoku, our beloved ruler, Toyo Satomimi no Miko, not any commoner. She is the true reincarnation of Prince Shotoku. Yearly prestige plus 1.5. Okay. So just with those early national ideas, let's call it. Senkai is actually in kind of an okay position to like combat Hakure and Myoren. It's going to really come down to if Senkai can use their navy to block the straits. If they can do that successfully, their homeland is safe. Hakure has the traditions of yearly war or monthly war exhaustion minus 0.1, and then missionary maintenance minus 20%. The first national idea of Hakure is exterminator of yokai. Reimu Hakure is known for her service in exterminating savage yokai. Although she's quite lazy, her devotion to her work as a shrine maiden as well as a hunter of yokai brought her clan a good reputation. Yearly prestige +1. The second national idea is cost minimization. We are well respected by the humans and our neighbors, yet our gained donations are pathetic, to say the least. Fortunately, we perfected the ways of saving money. Land maintenance modifier -15%. So, Hakure is not as built for war as Senkai is, so they may have to find their power elsewhere beyond just like raw military power. And up here is Myoren. The traditions of Myoren are national manpower +30% and spine network construction +20%. The first national idea is warrior spirit. Japan is currently in an almost state of anarchy where everyone's hope has vanished and pessimism has taken over. In order to defend the temple, one must always be ready to combat any threat coming our way. Infantry combat ability +10%. The second national idea is treasure hunting. Sho Toromaru is the avatar of Bishamonten, the god of warfare, justice, and treasures. Because of this, Sho is a national treasure hunter who finds the rarest jewels, gold, and whatnot, and even the furthest provinces. This, of course, pleases the treasury. Manpower recovery speed +20%. So it's going to take a little bit for Myoren to start up its military prowess, but once they get going, they could really dominate Japan if they're able to get enough troops on the field. Already they have 7,000 troops versus 6K down here and 6K over here. I guess we'll see how much Chiba and Makamatsu can muster, but Myoren might be the dominant one already. But we will end it there for this first part of the prologue. Thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, there will be a second part. We'll try to get all of the other submissions done. That way we don't have to spend too much time in this early stage of the campaign, and I can start recording in full. But that'll be it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. See you in the second part of the prologue.